What's up guys, welcome back to part 3 of the Junkyard Talaria project. I'm determined to get this bike back on the road today. Just a quick recap in case you're new to this channel. I found this XXX at my local scrapyard, beat to hell, missing the battery, a bunch of the electronics were cut. It was a mess, so make sure you check out the part 1 and part 2 videos if you want to get more details on what's been done so far. Here's the current state of the XXX. On the last video, we finally got it to turn on without a key. We just bypassed the RFID, rewired the throttle, the horn, and the display. The bike works now, but it was not safe to ride last time, so we didn't take it out. But I finally got the rear brake bled to a safe point where it actually engages, but makes a ton of noise. I think I actually got a little bit of mineral oil on the current brake pad, so we're gonna be swapping those out. The display still doesn't turn on. Turns out that this is for the wrong model Talaria. I ordered another one from Luna Cycles, which should be coming in today, so we can finally hop out of eco and get into sport mode. It's a shame because the current pads have a decent amount of life left, but that noise is going to drive me insane, so we're swapping them out. But before we install new pads on the caliper, I'm going to be wiping down the rotors with some isopropyl alcohol just to get rid of any sort of oils or residues on there to reduce the chances of the new pads making noise. And then for the pads, I'm going to be using some Inkeski BR08. These are very similar to the Shimano H03C pads, which have the metallic material. So it's got a very aggressive initial bite to it. They've also got the heat sinks to help dissipate the heat a lot better than the stock pads. I probably should have been wearing gloves, but I think it's a little too late at this point. I think I got these pads for like 32 bucks for 2 sets. I think that's like half price of what the Shimanos are. If you are interested in checking out any of the items that we're using for today's project, I'll have everything linked in the description below. Sometimes the hardest part of these pad replacements is lining up the pads and the clip in the middle. I actually use the same exact pads on my other Talaria. I think it's a pretty good budget option if you're still using the stock calipers. Yeah, I forgot to tighten this belt last time we were working on this bike. That is definitely way too loose. I think I read it's supposed to be around 6 millimeters of slack. What I'm gonna do here is loosen the 4 bolts holding the motor onto the frame, and then I'm gonna take the skid plate off so we can get access to the tension adjustment. We gotta rotate the motor slightly forward to tighten the belt tension. It's missing a bolt on this side. Here's a closer look at the tension adjustment. There are 2 10 millimeter nuts here. We're gonna break this outer one loose. This is the jam nut. And then we're gonna turn the inner nut clockwise to pull the motor forward. And once we got the belt tight enough, we're gonna turn the outer nut back in to jam the precision in place. And then we'll torque down the 4 bolts holding the motor to the frame. Seems about right. Still can't believe it was that loose. It's almost like there was zero maintenance done on this Talaria. So our whole goal with this Junkyard Talaria project was to get it back on the road safely for a total budget of $1,000. As of the part 2 video, we've spent $897.74 so far on all the parts that we've purchased for this bike, but then I had to purchase a few more items from Luna Cycle and Amazon to be able to consider this bike complete and good to go on the road. I just got the stock Suron LED headlight and the new display. with the black connector this time. Total cost for these two items ended up being $113 from Lunicycle. And then of course I just have to wire in the matching connector, which I stole from an old harness that I had laying around. And then I had to order a Suron headlight bracket from Amazon. I think this was like 11 bucks. Then this is a Suron to Talaria headlight connector. And then I had to purchase the brake pads. Those three items ended up costing $62.67, including shipping, bringing our new total for this project to $1,073.41, which isn't too far off from the original budget. So this plug-and-play harness is supposed to make it so there's no wiring involved whatsoever. It's supposed to just be able to connect to the Suron headlight and plug it into the stock headlight connector on the Talaria. Oh, thank God. I'm so sick of doing wiring. At least that saves me a step. Maybe I'll end up using this display for another project. I did get myself a CYC high power e-bike conversion kit for my mountain bike, so I may end up using this display for that controller if it's compatible. All right, now we're gonna throw on the matching connector onto the harness. All right, moment of truth. Headlight, horn, display turns on, press start. It is stuck in eco. Now that this works, I can switch between eco and sport. 76 kilometers per hour. So we definitely have the speed unlocked. Now that we have a working display, we can go into the settings and change the kilometers per hour to miles per hour. Then I'm going to do some further calibrations as far as getting the speedometer to read as accurate as possible with the new rear sprocket and the bigger tire size. Before we take this bike out, if you're enjoying today's video so far, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you like this kind of content, want to keep up with the Junkyard Talaria or any of my other projects, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn your bell notification on. If you're interested in checking out any of the parts that we used for today's project, I'll have everything linked in the description below. Guys, the Junkyard Talaria project is finally out of the garage and back on the road. I still can't believe somebody threw this out. Let's see how fast this thing goes. So keep in mind, this thing is still completely stock as far as drivetrain. I just unlocked the controller and we threw on a 44-tooth rear sprocket.
This thing actually cleaned up really well compared to how clapped out it looked just 2 weeks ago. And I'm glad I went with the stock Sur-on headlight. I think this was only 10 bucks from Luna, so you can't really beat that. The suspension rides pretty good, though the fork does feel like it's a little bit worn. The rear feels like it's brand new. The brakes feel pretty good, and I'm glad that they're super quiet, though I haven't gotten a chance to fully bed them in yet, and I'm sure that they'll perform better and better over time. We went a little over budget on this bike by like 76 bucks, but I really have nothing to complain about considering we have a fully running and rideable Talaria XXX for just a little over $1,000. Considering I probably have close to $6,000 invested in my other XXX, I have absolutely no complaints. The rear brake does still feel a little bit sketchy though. I kind of want to re-bleed that. I'd hate to loop this bike on the first day that we got it out of the garage. Alright guys, well if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you like this kind of content, want to keep up with this Junkyard Talaria project or any of my other bike projects, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn your bell notification on. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching.